Make a buddy, you're a boy, make a buddy, you're a boy, make a buddy, you're a boy now.
So here they come to sell them again. 9.5 straight night, 20 straight night, even straight here. Now guys, 8 halves are trading as well.
What is going on, guys? Another weekly equities review. One thing I find sometimes about Fridays, for a trader, Fridays are almost like, the normal white collar Mondays. There's just a little bit of a, I don't know, there's like a melancholy that comes over. I don't know if it's because it's ending, the action is a little bit less robust, just less frenetic and interesting typically on a Friday. But people's energy levels goes down on Friday. I was feeling pretty stoked to have opportunities in the market today. Despite having a 3.5-year-old around today, which was unplanned. My wife's a registered nurse and she was called in, kind of a weird schedule. So let's make sure I can, yep, audio's good. Just let it play back here through YouTube. So anyway, she's a nurse and sometimes she gets called in and now she's called off. So, well, she went in for a little bit and then she's now off work. So anyway, I get pretty excited when I get an opportunity to trade when my kid is around. And it can be a little challenging, but it's part of my growth as a trader, is to be able to trade around when my my little one is around me, and to kind of get into the market, set a stop, and say like, oh, okay, this trade is small enough that I don't feel like I really need to micromanage it, and I can just, if it's a loser, that's fine. So anyway, I know this is an equities feed, but I had a nice E-mini trade today, so that made me really happy to be able to make some money in the markets and peek my head in every once in a while to our Discord, which was pretty quiet after the well, the posts were few and far in between after the early hours, right? Or before and around the open, people were sharing their ideas, but then got kind of quiet. So I'm not gonna lie, I was a little bit sad. So anyway, here, you know what? Let me do something. Let me maximize the screen here. Let's detach the trade window and then get rid of it. And I guess we could take this time and sales and move it off the screen somewhere here. Okay, let's go settings, show title bar, All right, that's better. All right, make sure I'm all up to speed here before I start plugging away. Get my YouTube screen maximized. Okay, so let's see, trade 100. Let's see, trade mode off. Okay, there you go. I'm going to start backwards today, just because I feel like doing something different. Normally I start with the top 25 market cap stocks, and before that the equity indexes. But today let's go backwards in terms of what's on the list. So I have my today list. These are the things that I've been trading today. And then I have my movers list, which are kind of like, there's a little bit of, sometimes I can have things that are on my movers list that are on my today list, right? Movers are just things that have been moving. They create enough volatility for me to sort of track them intraday. And then I've got my large caps list over here. Let me turn something else on real quick. I'm ill prepared today. Where are you? There you are. All right, come on. There it is. And now you guys can see where the crosshairs are a little better, and then I can draw and stuff. This pointer focus thing here. $15. That was a one-time purchase. Had a lot of reviews, even though they sell out of Panama. It was a little concerning. Like, do I really want to give them my credit card information? But thousands upon thousands of reviews. So it seemed legitimate, and they've been around a long time. So anyway, pointer focus pen. I find it pretty useful. You can do some different things with it. You know, you can do like a spotlight. You see that? Right, that's kind of cool. You could turn on your keyboard so people can see your keystrokes here, which is dangerous. This is the highlight tool. Minimize, and then you can, right, do a magnifier. Oh, here it is. Look, hey, spy. Right, so that's kind of cool. What else? And then a pen mode. I use this all the time. So magnifier and pen mode is on right now. So, but if you wanted to get like really crazy, oh, see, right, we could draw very, very accurately. Maybe not that accurately. Anyway, and that's what it has. So where's the magnifier? Oh, there. Okay. So we'll get this off to the right here, and then so anyway, I'm going to start with this, what I traded today. So Clove, I had it on the list for today. I didn't make any trades. It's got a lot of high short interest at iHorse, IHORS3 is Ihor Dubin. I don't even know how to say his last name. Anyway, he does a live short interest thing that it's kind of his forte. And once in a while, he'll spit out some names that show high short interest. And I've been looking at this one for a little bit, and I missed this move. So I thought, well, maybe it'll make another crazy move, and it didn't kind of do what I wanted it to. I wanted it to break this high and then keep going, and didn't quite do that. It failed here. So, you know, I would want it to break the high, pull back, and then keep going. Didn't do that. So the volume was so low that I was like, no, this is not my cup of tea. Anyway, this is a 30-minute chart here. You can kind of see what I'm talking about. See how the volume's really low? So this big sell bar, we didn't get the same kind of volume today. So it wouldn't even pop back into that. So anyway. So here's another one, Pershing Square, which I played this one to the short side a little bit last night. Made some money on it, but it dumped today. So I didn't end up playing this today. I wish I was still holding short because I was short. Where was I short? I was short from almost 24-ish last night. And then, yeah, I played around with it a little bit more and covered, I don't know, so maybe I shorted 23 something. Anyway, it was not a huge win. It was like 40, 50 cents. But you know, your share size can be a little bit bigger. It was moving on volume after hours, right? There was some news last night. Hey, Yevgeny Trust, thank you for your well wishes, man. I hope your weekend is fabulous. I think I'm gonna have a good weekend. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling good about it. Anyway, so this was another one that one of the guys on in our Reddit, Iggy. Shout out to Iggy. Nice call on this. He called it out when it was right around 270 yesterday, and talked a little bit about the news and that they had been looking at this one. So big gap up today. It held that gap, right? And then you know, if you bought the pullback, you did all right today. So this was a big mover. So lots of opportunity. I didn't end up playing this one only because when my wife had to go off to work this morning, I was busy during this time, so didn't work out. But I don't know. Kind of looks like it. I mean, it's held this. It didn't just retrace the whole thing, so it's definitely going to be one to watch, especially because it's above POC on the daily. So this big white bar. Oh, you know what? This is not on. Nope, that's not what I want. Where are you? Is that it? Okay, yeah. So this big white bar here on this volume profile is the point of control. So it's the highest area of volume. So it has held that, right? So it gapped above that, held it, and now is higher. So that is why it's very interesting to me. So on the weekly, point of control way down here is pretty close to here. So I don't know. It is actually just a really interesting chart. Maybe I'll see how it reacts over the next few days, next week. But if it holds this, I might go long because it gives me nice risk at like maybe 244. You know, going for mid fours or something, or even higher. Who knows? But yeah, nice little pop there on this thing. So another one is Workhorse. So this is kind of still in my watch list. I bought some Workhorse at 1311 is where I bought. And then I scaled out the other day from 14. I think my first sell in this, I got filled while I wasn't even around. My first fill was 14.45, and then I sold like every 20 cents up. And then my last one was, I think, 16. I want to say it was 16.05. I don't know. Somebody will probably fact check me from Reddit or something, or not Reddit, Discord. But I think my last exit on that was 16.05. So I just woke up and I was like, oh yeah, sweet, I'm up. I was up a lot. So I had stops right under here for that. 12. No, it was lower. 12. No, 1270. Around 1270, I believe. So they don't trigger pre-market. They're only intraday stops, or I'm sorry, regular trading hour stops. So yeah, that was a nice little trade. So it's on the list, but that's kind of a what is it? Sympathy pump with all of the other highly shorted stocks. So that's kind of what that was about, right? It's like on the daily, it gapped up and broke this level of, or was basically, I figured it's going to break this level of resistance. So it was kind of an anticipation play, right? So 1311 is like a little above this area here. So I just figured, well, this would act like resistance, this POC. That's why I scaled out, I think 1605. It's like right ahead of the POC. But it ended up going a little higher and then boom, right back down. So I think I'm done with this one. I've been mocking this chart for months now. I see dead traders in this chart. But hopefully some of those folks that bought in this area got out. Because this is just a sympathy pump. That's all it is. So, and that will come because of that. I'm not interested. It comes off my daily list here. So here's another one, Bed Bath and Beyond. They announced, oh, we're doing some restructuring, etc. I was like, now this is a short. So anyway, played this one a lot. What was it? After hours on this day. So did not have time for it today. Or did I? Did I play it? Yeah, I think I did. See, this is what happens when you watch a kid. You forget. I did play it. I was playing it through here. Yep, definitely did. I was short from, I shorted it. So I'm just kind of recapping a little bit. And then maybe you guys are interested in why I did what I did, right? So as we came down off of this and we just kept grinding, I shorted right around 32.5 with the anticipation that after hours, we'd probably break this low and go find stops. And that's essentially what happened, right? As soon as we broke 31.75, and I posted it on Twitter, it was like, stops under 31.75. So there was somebody else that was playing this with me, and I think they got out before the close. It's like, it wasn't their play. But I kept holding past the close, and then we went and tagged all those lows. Hey, B4 Trader, yeah, he's a super interesting dude. Very entertaining, and he's got a cool Discord channel as well. So I went in there and hung out a little bit the other day, posted some charts, etc., and just kind of said hello. For me at least, I'm not charging for anything, so there's no competition or anything like that. So whatever. I'm happy to recommend anybody that has good content and something that I think might benefit people. So yeah, definitely happy to do that. So anyway, that was the play on that. Wasn't a huge winner, but I felt it was a high probability play, even though it was like the bottom of this move. It's like, okay, you don't have to catch the whole move, right? And if you look on a 5-minute chart, sort of what we were looking at, right? It's just in this downtrend, and at this point, once it starts to, okay, so here, let's see. right? It came, it's essentially, it came into the meat right here, and then it bounced, right? But then it kind of held this downward trajectory. If you want to look at this as like a channel, downward channel or something, right? Like right in here, and it just held and just kept going. So the fact that it didn't kind of break back away and move to the upside here when it rejected and then made a new low here, you can almost anticipate that longs here are just freaking out. Like, and this is not a good long-term play. Like fundamentally, it's not sound. So plenty of shares to short on Interactive Brokers. So yeah, that's what we end up getting in around here, and then just kept breaking down. I think I covered some right down in here somewhere, and then I just held the rest till after hours. And so you can kind of see like what ends up happening here is when it doesn't bounce into the close, is that people start to despair, and longs are like, well, what the hell's going on here? It's not pumping anymore. So they're expecting something like, okay, a retracement, find some support and pump. But if into the close it doesn't really show any kind of springiness, longs just tend to capitulate, right? So, right, you see all this volume here, right, on this. So a lot of sell volume here in this bar, and it traveled, right? And you can see where we popped to is about this bar, right? And that's where sort of the volume profile comes up here. So intraday, this was like the biggest volume right here on the volume profile until all of this transpired, right? And then this built out. Let's see if we can do this. If we can show it by doing this. Nope. Right, so there you go, right? You see how a huge amount of volume here. So this volume profile is based on visible bars. So you can kind of see now, this is all pre-market, so it's lower volume. So you can see how this was a huge volume area. So right over here at 3680, now go look and see. So we're just talking about how it developed, right, and why it rejected. So go look at 3680, now over here. You see that? 3680 is about the high. So like a few more pennies, like whatever, 10, 11 cents more. So it's that volume from the morning. All the longs that were like, well, maybe they added, and then it's like, okay. And then it rips up here a little bit on decent volume, pretty good volume. Then as soon as you get close to that high volume area, what was a high volume node, again, it doesn't look like it here because more volume transacted for the duration of the day. They were like, get me the fuck out, right? And then it just became a march towards the exits, right? And as soon as you break these kind of levels, right, that's why it's not, this is a pump and dump. So there's different rules than a, like a sustained stock that is making this kind of pattern. Right, if you're trading a Tesla or something, you see this kind of pattern, it might like try to double bottom or something. This might be an Eve, and then you might get like a V kind of bottom here or something. But this is not that. This is just a little pump and dump. So totally different kind of thing. All right, so let's see. I'm not checking my Discord, so if there's people talking on Discord, I ain't looking. Next one is OEG. Another pump and dump, right? The volume was so low today that I was like, nope, not touching this. And good thing. So these things tend to just dribble down. Dribble, 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 dribble. And just, the volumes kind of just crap out, right? So you get these weekly bars. Sometimes they hold up, but like this one is, look at the daily. Like the daily was this huge bar, and now it's just crawling down on low volume. So these things tend to just, like I said, they tend to just stair step down is what they do. Okay, so that's the, okay, AMC. Again, because I was watching my kid, I didn't have time to trade this one today. Oh, look at AMC dying after hours. See, fade them, I told you. He was asking, I don't know if he was asking me or not. Maybe he wasn't asking me, but he was talking about, he was short, and I said, man, just stay short, dude. this kind of play here. It's for lots of reasons, but mainly for, let's see, this is a 30-minute chart. Okay. Here, let's back it up. All right. Right. So mainly for, so you can draw this a number of different ways, but I like to draw it like this, just because, okay, this is not terribly high volume, so these wicks here, so it's about here is where I like to draw the trend line. So yeah, this was low. You could draw it a little bit differently. You could say like here through there, right? And but either way, now we're breaking this trend line. Then you can also draw it from like this, and this is what I was showing him. Right? Look at this. You see that? So what you like to look at is a 30-minute chart. Is there reaction? Yeah. And what happens? Whew, right back through. So yeah, another reaction off this trend line. Boom, nice bounce, right? So $3 bounce. And then it rolls over off of all of these overhead moving averages. And now it's just, you know, finding liquidity here. It's stopping all kinds of people who were like, oh, it didn't hold the trend line. And they're like, get me the fuck out. And there's probably not a lot of liquidity. Looking at, yeah, I'm looking at tape right now. This is all just, yeah, they're probably going to pop it again here. There's absorption here at 40. There's a big bidder at 43 and taken out. So I'm just looking at time and sales here. You see that? See 43s? So they're going to pop it up here. Probably 34. Yeah, probably a few bucks. Anyway, I'm not, man, I almost want to get on a sim and just let it play out and then come back to it at the end of the video. I think it's going to come back to that trend line like 44, 44 and a half. Anywho, so back up. And then, okay, we've got this other list. It's called movers. Again, it has a little bit of crossover with my today list. So this is applied materials. Let's zoom out a little bit. I bought some when I talked about it, and I'm a little bit in profit, but not much. So it's part of the portfolio here, and it's looking good. It's held, and it's now moving up. I have buys in this area, and they didn't fill, so it's probably a good thing, right? It came back a little bit, and then just no fills. So for what I do have, like, you know, starter position here, it's looking good. So let's go get those all-time highs. It looks nice. So really nice chart. Just higher highs and higher lows. And then this consolidated a bit more, had really good earnings, but did not pop the day of earnings. It kind of went sideways, and now it's popping after the fact, and forward sales and everything look good. So this has potential for 160 probably. So nice looking stock. We already did AMC. AMD here. I mean, it's kind of in balance a little bit. Still has this little bit of a head and shoulders kind of look, right? Left shoulder, rounded head. Right shoulder didn't go quite as high. So I don't know. It looks more like a range than a head and shoulders to me. But yeah, it's not a terribly bearish chart. It's just holding a range. If you have fundamental reasons for holding this stock, then technically it's not super bearish. That's what I would say about that. Boeing. Boeing did the boing out on the daily and jumped up nicely. So this green kind of trend line that runs through here. Yeah, I don't know about keeping that on. Let's see. You know, if it pulls back, and it holds this area here, which is a high from here and here, I'd probably be looking for a buy in the 242, 243s for at least a little pop back up over the next coming weeks. So let's go ahead and put that on the chart here, right? Oops, let's go right here. We're establishing it based on this and then this, so that's cool. It's like a little wide, isn't it? That's all right. Really would want it to hit the LVN. I would want it to come through the LVN and then bounce in the 240s area. So let's go change that. There you go. Yeah, like that. Let's see. Alibaba. Telling you, this thing is such a sleeper. Curling up. I didn't buy any. I forgot about it. But it looks like it could do something. Blackberry. 20 bucks. Anyway, this plays. It's over with. It is over with for me. Blackberry's done. We were talking about Blackberry down in that $9 range. Looking at, if breaking the 12s, and then if it broke the 12s, we said it could run, but that was the play, right? To buy it in this area, anticipate, and then some sort of news or catalyst, which, the catalyst on these things were, oh, highly shorted, buy it. And it did pull back at that 12 and then gapped up and became one of those short pump and dumps, high short interest pump and dump. So I almost want to take this off my list because it's not worth it for me anymore. All right, Vgfv is Big Five Sporting Goods. So pushed up. Man, this thing went hard and it went fast. It needs some more consolidation. I'd like to see this turn into a little bit of a trading range and then make some sort of buyable pattern, right? Some sort of consolidation move down to here and then break a trend line or something. So this stays on the list because it's moving a lot, but it's not going to be one that I put a whole lot of attention on until it shows me a little bit more consolidation, something like this, right? And then maybe add it to the long-term portfolio. I don't know, maybe the IRA or something. BY. It is a kind of a summertime stock, though. Anyway, BYND. Golly, this thing broke my heart. I stopped here from this area. I was long, and then did this whole thing right back up. So look on the weekly how it's doing this sort of symmetrical broadening formation, aka megaphone. And this thing is just a fucking volatility beast. Golly. I'm just looking at it here going like, really? Is it going to springboard all the way back up? What's next? I mean, we're above this point of control here on the weekly, right? So that's all its history right here. It might have legs. It might. Fundamentally, I need to read more about what's driving this. I don't know what it is. Coinbase. So I've long said I'd be more interested in buying it under 250, but I want to see it base out. So I have no interest in buying coin here, especially with crypto where it is. So I want to see crypto take a shit, and I want to see this go sideways. And I want to see what their earnings are like when crypto is in the shitter. If it's something that is sustainable, as far as an earnings beat or something like that, or if they're just going to report the shittiest earnings you've ever seen, and then everyone realizes that they got out at a cycle top in crypto. It's kind of what it seems like. But so anyway, no interest. I mean, I did have an interest the first pass at 250, and you see we made a wicked bounce. I missed it, but I did have an interest. I just happened to miss it. That's trading. But I don't have an interest here. Not even a little bit. Needs more history. Salesforce was a strong looking stock. It held this channel that it broke, so it looks like a buy here. Yeah, nice price action. Might be slow, might take a while, but it held this previous sort of this POC here, held that trend line. Just looks good. DraftKings just going sideways. Already filled that little gap here. What was that? Shitty earnings. Right into POC here. I expect it to roll over. Etsy. Is Etsy rolling down yet? Nope. Wonder if this is highly shorted. So, we remember for a long time I had probable diamond continuation. Well, I changed it finally, but I got that wrong. My idea was that it was going to continue, but it didn't. It was a reversal, so whatever. Ford. Man. Ford's still profiting off their release of that electric F-150, I think is what it was. But hey, I don't know. I don't have a lot of confidence that that truck is going to perform well over time. But we'll see. I think this will turn into make a lot of traders very sad. So we'll see. We'll see how that pans out into maybe their next earnings or something like that. GME. Still think it's tulips. In other words, pump and dump. But what do I know? Hey, we're getting the double name here. That's weird. Yeah, I don't know. It's probably look to go short GME here, despite it breaking out. Pretty low volume and holding up here. Yeah, I need to research more on the fundamental side, but technically, I would just imagine this is going to be see how it rejected here, right? Right at, so this bounced, and then where it bounces and rolls over, here, I'll zoom in here, I'll show you what I'm talking about. So, okay, so it makes its move, and then, it has this crazy day, and then it bounces, right? And right here, it rolls over, right? And then it just, right? Then it finally breaks the trend line, a little bit of action. But look at how low this volume is, right? Compared to this, right? On the bounces. So you see that? It's a little bit higher than this. I don't know if you can see that. So you see this versus this. So more volume is trapped here. And as we moved up, now it's getting crazy. As we moved up, right? Whatever. As we moved up, I see trap traders. Now we're moving back down. If we break, we're already breaking a trend line here. If we break this, I would expect it accelerates back to essentially this high volume node. So where are we at? 247. Probably not a popular thing to say with all the meme traders that are out there, but that's what I see. Yeah. Because if when it popped like this, you're long from this area, right? And you've held, now it gets here and it rejects. It's psychologically devastating as it moves away. You're just like, fuck this. Right? And just back up and look at the pattern, right? You're okay, had this dump and then boom, right? And then this is making a higher low relative to here. But then if it makes a lower high, right? You would expect it to come down to this area. Do you really want to hold if you bought this area for another $100 scuba dive? I mean, shit, maybe diamond hands, but there's only so much. And then what if the rest of the market, what if the Russell starts taking a shit and it's risk off, and this can go back to 80 bucks really fast, right? All right, and then you get some panic, and I don't know. It's just ugly. So let's see. Goldman Sachs. We've been talking about Goldman. Mega Bull just keeps doing its thing. So there's a few trend lines of note for Goldman. We're breaking one of them. So remember, I don't know if you guys have been watching me for a while, you know, I'm always talking about this rising wedge pattern, right? And how, the idea is, right, you go and you make ever tighter, higher highs and higher lows, and that signifies that the market is coming to a point where it's not pulling back far enough to flush inventory, and so you don't, it loses the ability to sustain an upward move, right? So most markets, because of the way markets move, at some point, right, and the way that trend lines are, at some point it's going to look almost usually like it's going to go like this. And so every market that's in an uptrend making higher highs and higher lows, at some point you can draw like this, from this point to this point to this point. You can draw what looks like a rising wedge, and you got to be really careful doing that, because if you don't have enough consolidation within a channel, right? If it's not like tight enough like this, right, that would be like a valid rising wedge, okay? But if you get something that's more like this, I'm trying to draw a rising wedge here, and then like this, and then see, I'm already messing it up, but here, right? It starts to kind of like, it's essentially, you'll go over to this screen. It's essentially like this, and it's just barely a rising wedge, right? Just barely. It's not tight like that, where it goes, like it's got a point to it. So a lot of people draw these rising wedges, and they just don't have much angle to them, and you got to be careful doing that. So anyway, Goldman is now breaking up out of this short-term rising wedge. The bigger picture is that it's in a channel. All right, let's get rid of this. That was a breakout level right there. Anyway, the bigger picture is that, here, let's do this, is that it's in this channel like this. So if you're long, say Goldman, like, yeah, scale out some here, it's a big move. But for totally exiting the position, I'd be looking to exit right up. Well, I'd look to exit some sort of reversal, okay? If you're long from wherever, like in here or something. And we've been talking about it since what, probably 325 or something. It's at what, 391. I'd be looking to exit somewhere, everything, just exit it right in that area. Oh man, talk about struggle sauce. All right, in that area, 414, okay, 400 is going to act like just psychological resistance, big round number. So ahead of that, and then if it blows off, I'd just be all out before the top of this trend, this channel trend line. That's where I'd be out, and I'd just be like, sit on hands. You might say, well, you're calling a top by exiting your, you know what? This kind of move. So if you think about this as like Elliott wave, which for bigger moves like this, I do like Elliott wave. Right? You get impulse 1, This is 2, the pullback, 3, 4, and then this is wave 5. So wave 5s can be the most FOMO induced. They can be the longest, just because it's like new paradigm shit, right? Bitcoin, think of Bitcoin. Wave 3s tend not to be, but by this, so 1, 3, 5 are the impulse or upward waves. Wave 5s, they can be the longest, but in my experience, once you see, okay, wave 1, pull back, wave 2, pull back, everyone's like, well, it's obviously pulling back and going higher. What ends up happening is big money starts selling into this, right? They're selling. And when the music stops and they quit supporting the market, this shit tends to just do that, right? So you'll quickly go from 400 to like 350, like just like that. I snapped my fingers. You guys couldn't probably hear that. Maybe you could. So anyway, that's my opinion on Goldman. You could just wait for this channel break too. If you're long from here or something, you could wait for the channel break. Yeah, I know that there's traders like Larry Tentarelli. He waits for the moving averages and the trend typically to kind of show that it's changing, and then he gets out. But that's his style. It eats him up inside, he says, when he sells before the top, right? So I like to sell into strength. So it's just a difference of approaches there. So anyway, not that I'm on Larry Tentarelli's level. I'm not. He's a legend. So let's see. Make sure I don't have something on here. Okay, so the next one is Eli Lilly. So still have a gap under us here. And I guess, like I was saying before, it looks. I don't like the way it's moving, but I guess it's just technically still making higher lows. Relative to the major pullbacks, right? It's making. So this was a little consolidation. It broke down from that. But, there was a gap here. It didn't even go to the gap, right? So it came back up, no problem, and filled this gap, which is where we're about at right now at 200. And then, how many people are going to draw a trend line like this? Probably a lot. And say, oh, it's breaking out. I don't know. That's not enough price action against a trend line. Is it really a trend? I don't know. It's more of like this is resistance based on what was support is now becoming resistance. So for me, I would, if it breaks 208, 209, 210, then it's probably going to go higher. That's the way I would look at this. Lows. Still in a pretty solid uptrend here. Look at the moving averages, right? Again, when they start to fan out like that, typically you get close to a top. So this 20 was really separated from the 50. So kind of fanned out here. We're a little fanned out here, aren't we? But support down here, we'll just do this with the price zones tool right here. So we're right there. We'll see. Little LVN here. So let's see if it shoots it and then pops off 175 or so. Let's see, next one. Oops. MU. Looks like a springboard. Still looks like it's going to move to the upside to me. But some moving averages starting to roll over here. So high volume node right above here at 86. So let's see how it behaves. If it gets above that, it's probably going to try and at least go for 95s or all-time highs. Neo. Someone said to me the other day in Discord that they're probably going to steal all of Tesla's technology. Probably having something to do with, Tesla being in China and I don't know. The idea that we know China likes to steal a lot of the technology, like Apple phones, stuff like that. With the idea being that Apple would do the same, and then NIO would start to expand its market share. It's possible. It's more of a fundamental kind of game theory type play, but that's very possible. It's definitely being bought, or something's happening here, right? It's a sideways accumulation. It's not even consolidation. Well, I guess it's a sort of consolidation, but it's some sort of accumulation or distribution, just given the fact that it's very much a balance area. See that? Like that. So it's that resistance. So if it breaks through here, then double that, 54 would be a target. Yeah, and that which would put you right into what was this previous balance area, right? So the bottom of that would be like 54. So that would be probably a nice getting out into that, right? So resistance right in this area, and that would double up balance. So interesting. O'Reilly. Let's see. So we've got on the weekly. Let me get rid of some of this shit. We've got this inverted head and shoulders, which I've been pointing out. Right, you got this. Here's your neckline. Oops. Oh, exit pen mode. All right, get rid of that. Left that. Okay, so we have this elevated, and it broke this, so now it's coming back to it. So this is a slow mover, and this is a very large pattern. So I would expect this to hook back up and go get its target way up there above, I don't know, what is it, 700 or something like that? Yeah, 700. Craziness, I know. So this is measured from this to the trend line here, or the neckline here, and then just adding it to the breakout. So that's how you get that zone, right? So technical analysis of stock trends, which is classical charting patterns, right? The Bible of technical analysis, printed in what, 1930? Oh, let's see, I'm looking at it here. When was that thing printed? 1929, right? And it's had like 12 editions, right? Or 11 editions, I don't know exactly, but that is how you measure it. A Kilroy continuation, or inverted head and shoulders continuation pattern. So anyway, that is what that is showing. So maybe a good long-term buy on O'Reilly if you like classical charting patterns. Oh, I hit the wrong thing. Pinterest. Anyway, Pinterest is this is not something I would be buying here, but it may push up and make new highs. It wouldn't surprise me. It's a volatile name, so that's what it's looking like for me. Peloton. Broke the downtrend line, now it's pulling back. Not a great place to pull back, in my opinion. I would want it to push up higher, reject at this level, then come back, right? And then go, right? Now you've got this, right? That would give you this inverted head and shoulders kind of thing, right? So, and then a continuation pattern. So not a whole lot for me to do with Peloton here. Yeah, it did break this this trend line. And you could say, okay, it's coming back for a retest. And it might just go. It might come up and then, you know, push up like this, right? And then start to make a series of, right, higher highs and higher lows, right? So like here relative to this is your high, and then it might do that. I don't know. So here, if it does start to push up, well then I want to see this break, right? And then I want to see this hold, right? So in terms of the trend, because, you know, a lot of these names, right, they were so overdone, they have to take time to digest and change trend. So you got to be careful here. As long as you're still making lower lows and lower highs like this. Here, let's get rid of that. It's a little too much on the screen. But as long as you're still making, okay, here's lower high, right? It's a lower low, lower low. Now it's a lower high. The trend is still what? It's still down, right? Because this is what's happening with the markets. It's oscillating, and it's you know, screw this trend line. The trend is still down. So if it curls up here, now you have an opportunity to, relative to this point, make a higher low, right? So then you would want to see it make a higher high and then oscillating. So that's fine. If it does that, well, then you start buying here because it's already changed the trend, right? You could draw a channel here or something in the future. That's what you're looking for. But right now the trend is down still. And then you go back to the weekly and look at how crazy profitable this was for all these people here. So this is going to take time. This is all, a lot of this is all now supply, right? This is all supply. So this market has to digest that supply and then move on if it's going to go higher, right? So that's the idea, right? I know everybody wants to buy the lows and then hope that's the end of the trend, and then it goes on to make new highs, and shit, I bought the perfect pullback and I'm fucking rich because I put my whole account on it. Or I bought options, long dated options, and I fucking crushed it. But that's just not the way it works if you want to be in this game long term, because a lot of these they don't correct, you know, and this is it. This was the bubble, right? And they just, you know, these markets can, I'm just sharing wisdom here. These markets can do this and do this and do this, right? Return to the mean, right? Accumulation phase, and then they start a new uptrend way over here, and then they go parabolic. Like, it could do that, but how many? Is this going to be what, 5 years before that happens? So, you know, do you want to tie your money up in this thing and become a bag holder? Do you want to? Is this your Doge? I don't know. It's not my. I don't like to do that. I don't like to sit there and bag hold. I'm a trader, not a bag holder / rookie investor. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with if you believe in the product and you want to hold for 10 years, but if you're a trader, just be aware of what makes a trend, right? Higher highs, higher lows. So we're not seeing that yet. So this rollover relative to this is not a good sign. I'm just saying. Okay, so I've spent enough time on that. Rocket. So happy I exited my Rocket shares into this gap. You know, I bought some here. Short interest was high. And then I bought some in, man, what was it, 17. And I thought I might have been buying high too, 17 something. And then I missed this. Kind of sucked. I missed this pump. I just missed it. It went up, went down. I never set any sells. All my sells were up here in the 21s. And then it went again on this day. And I got out right in this area. Not the high, but it was like right in the middle. So it was stinking profitable, man. It was good. But I did stop out of Rocket here. So, you know, I stopped out. I was long 22 and I stopped out 20s or something. Whatever. I made way more on this. So that was cool. That was kind of like the sympathy play for highly shorted stocks. That's all it was. Like, okay. So anyway, on the 30 minutes, still not bad. Still might go more. It's kind of holding this prior pump here. So if it starts to curl up, I don't know, maybe Rocket will go fill the gap completely. What is it up here at? Why is that not showing? Oh yeah, up here at man, there's POC up there, 22. I don't know. This volume node is a little scary. Do you really? Let's see. Yeah, this one here from here. But you know, in terms of more recent, so I'm looking at this high volume node, but that's based on this price action. That would have flushed a lot of folks just because of the way that this moved. And then when it came back down and broke down, the high volume node that I'm more concerned about is the more recent one, which is right, that area, right? So anyway, let's get, because this again only shows visible bars for the volume profile, we could just drag this over and then only see what we want to see. So there you go. So that's the HVN I'd be concerned about right now. Now if it breaks that, it's got room, right, up to here, 27. So it's kind of an interesting one. I like keeping it on the list. So anyway, a bunch of if this then that kind of thing, right? If it starts to break down on these tops here, it's probably just a sympathy play and it comes back to 17 or something. At which point I would not be just bag holding. Just get the fuck out. It's no longer making higher lows and higher highs, right? So let's see, 30-minute chart. Okay. Roku. Been saying Roku doesn't look, on this weekly, doesn't look bad at all. The last few days have been some mild selling here. It's interesting. So here Roku made, I don't know, we can say it did this downtrend, and then it attempted to change trend and it couldn't do it, and then it came back down. So it's definitely, it's struggling. So what's interesting about it is, right, so relative to this low, it's breaking that, right? So you have this, but it's starting to not make a clean downtrend pattern, right, where it just does this and keeps, you know, variations of that. But it's tried to break it here. So I'm interested, because it's outside of this channel, I'm interested to see what it does in this area, right? So it could start to base kind of through here and then flip up. Again, it's not a bad pattern. It's already retraced a lot of this move here. It's a good company, right? So, and now it's just starting to try to base out. So if it kind of consolidates up here, then I'd look for it to pop and break like that. Again, this is all weekly chart, right? But that's a nice pattern, right? Gold has done that. Bitcoin's done that. This is a nice pattern. So, and then if it moves up here and starts to consolidate, then I'd be looking to go long too, right? If it consolidates higher like that. So it's a nice pattern. Get rid of this pen. SQ. I know SQ had some news today, didn't they? What did they say that they were going to do? It was something with crypto. I can't remember what it was. Oh well. Maybe it was something, was it with Ethereum? I don't know. I think they had good news, but it looks like it probably, let's see. The news came out, it pumped, and it dumped. So not a great sign. Downtrend still intact here. But, you know, overall still in a range. So likely range. Just looking at it here. Could be a double top, I don't know. Kind of a big M top in a way. But if it breaks down here and starts to go, then it'll double that easy. Go to 125 or something. Get all these gaps. It'll just keep going. So this is a humongous either distribution or accumulation, but a big balance area. So if it started to break 168, it would just, I think it would rip to the downside. That's what tends to happen for a huge balance area like that. The move, whoever's wrong, is they get completely screwed. Zidos TV says, are you bullish or bearish on SPY Monday? I'll get to it, man. I still have the top 25 large caps for the Nasdaq and S&P 500 to go through. And then I'm going to go through the indexes last. And I think that's kind of cool because we get to see, so the large caps are the constituents of the main indexes. So we're gonna see what those large caps, especially like Fatman G, Facebook, Apple, Tesla, Microsoft, Amazon, Netflix, Google, look like, and how they may affect SPY and QQQ, right? And then we'll do our own TA on SPY and QQQ without trying to think about those. But that'll help us as we go through large caps. It'll help us to get a good idea. So this is my large cap little list here. It'll help us to get a good idea. That's here. As to what the indexes are going to do. Especially because, you know, again, those are just constituents. And then I have a custom symbol here for Fatman G, and we can look at that. Okay, so that is weighted as, it's kind of fairly close to the weighting of the large by large market cap. So it's kind of like Apple's weighted higher than Tesla is, you know, etc. In that custom symbol. So we can take a look at that and see how it's moved and what its technicals are and its probability to affect, say, QQQ or something like that. So that's why I'm kind of doing it backwards here today. Anyway, Square is just in range. So TSM, I am long this bad boy. I'm in profit on this bad boy, so that's good. I added to it, so I'm longer TSM, so it's looking good. Just nice little flag, little double bottom here, and I like this pattern. It's healthy. Lots of pullbacks on the way to the top here. Nice big pullback here, so I like the risk reward. Oh shoot, I'm in the wrong. Am I in the wrong thing? No, VTNR. Man, look at that volume drop off, and it's holding here. That's interesting. You know, if this thing, so the only thing we can really do is do something like this. But if this thing breaks this trend line on volume, it is going to go. I mean, this is a massive, massive pump. But it's interesting that it's holding this area. So, well, we'll just have to watch it. Zoom. I am long Zoom. I added to Zoom higher today than I wanted to. I had buys in at 318.40. And in pre-market, they routed around my orders. Motherfuckers. Anyway. So I bought up today about like 333 I bought. So whatever. I added those shares. But yeah, I like this pattern. This is nice. Nice pennant-ish, flag-ish on the weekly. Really? Is it going to move that slow? Yep, I guess so. Yeah, whatever. Anyway, so it looks good. I'm just anticipating this going to the moon. Even if it comes back down to 277, I will probably just add here with an anticipation of this bottoming because of this pattern. It's just so nice. Totally different look as it makes new lows, but it's starting to consolidate and get tighter. So yeah, that's sort of the opposite of a rising wedge. It's kind of a more falling wedge-ish pennant action, right? So it looks good. All right, that's the end of the list for the movers. Now we go to large caps. So we got like maybe 30 stocks in here or something like that. added to Apple today. We'll see how it goes. I like the risk reward on this because you can stop here at like 115, 116. And that is what I would do. I would stop right here. But I did. I added today. Right at the open. So those shares are looking okay. Not a lot, just a little bit. I'm long Apple from about 126 now. So it's underwater a little bit. That's all right. Let's see. But Apple not particularly great looking, to be honest. All right. Microsoft. So, as I look at the Fat Man G, or these major market cap movers, what I'm thinking about is how bullish are a lot of them, and what are their potential to move in the upcoming week, and how much are those going to move the indexes and the QQQs, the NQs of the world, etc. So Microsoft looks good. You can see how it has this propensity to move up, consolidate, and then make a move. So move up, pull back, consolidate, then make a move. So Microsoft moving up, consolidating, and then maybe push for a new all-time high. That's my idea anyway. But to me, it looks like it's ready to move up. So score, I'd say 1 out of 2 look very bullish so far. Okay, Google. I mean, it's still in this channel, still looks good. Look. Yeah, it's still in an uptrend. So Google has a high probability of moving up. Amazon in range. Right in the middle of a range, right? And this is deceptive because if you start drawing trend lines like this, you're going to be heartbroken, right? So here, what did I do? I drew whatever trend line I could draw based on lows, right? And now it would stop all those folks out. But on a little bit of a higher time frame, we're just balancing up here is what Amazon is doing. So I am personally long some Amazon. It is a little bit underwater, but I'm okay with it. I think I'm long from about 32. I sold some to buy some other stuff in my long-term portfolio. It was a good play, and then I bought some more back under 3,200. So I think my average is like 3275, 3,300. I don't remember exactly, but so I'm a little underwater on it, but I'm not at this point. I'm not too worried about it. So let's see. But Amazon, okay, so 1 of 3, or I'm sorry, 2 of 4 now are bullish looking, and the other 2 are in range, right? They're just ranging out. That would be Amazon and Apple, right? Just in range like this. That's all that's happening, right? Just in range. So not bullish, not bearish, but not particularly bullish, right? You could say Amazon is attempting on the weeklies to hold consolidation here, right? Let's see if we can draw a line. Well, yeah, like this. Wrong color. Right? So it's holding this area. But if it comes back in, it's probably going to, move down to the bottom here. Like that. And, maybe, so this would be the 3rd time it hits this area. It might keep going lower. Who knows? Right? So that's concerning if you start to break 3,000, right? Because this is now the 3rd time hitting here. Markets that move and hit, the same level a 3rd time, in my opinion, they're moving there because they're probably likely to test lower. Right? A lot of people are fans of triple tops, triple bottoms. I am not. I think the 2nd time it goes there and rejects, okay. that is potentially like if it's a reversal off of an uptrend, that's bearish, but and double bottom, that's bullish. But when it gets those there a third time, it typically goes and at least goes a little bit lower. So I wouldn't want to be long here and then not getting stopped out here and then have it continue to go down here and then finally go like, well, shit, it's breaking balance, I need to get out. So this is where my support is right now. So and again, looking at this, the point of control is here. So, and yeah, could it just fake out here and then rip back? Sure. And then I'd have to get back long if I would have to get back long if it came back up in here. That's what I would do. I'd get back long. Because I'd say, oh, it's a fake out, probably trap shorts, and then that's usually some sort of Wyckoff spring, right? So here's support, and then that usually what gives the market legs to go much higher. So that's my idea. Let's see. Where's my undo button here? Where are you? So many buttons. Oh, undo draw. I added some more buttons here on the end to some of my other Sierra chart installations, and it's messing with me a little bit. All right. So, okay, 2 of 4 are bullish. Facebook. Bullish, still making. Now, the trend tried to reverse here off this pullback here, but that just sprung up. So, this previous high, sort of double bottom kind of action. So I don't know, it could actually propel it a little bit higher, 350 or something like that. Measured move on Facebook. Where is it? Oh, we're hitting it, aren't we? We're there. Off of this pattern, we're there. Oh, that explains the choppiness. I think I talked about that last week. Huh. Yeah, Facebook has, it's still technically bullish, but I think it has more of a likelihood of pushing a little higher and then reversing. So, okay. So we'll call Facebook neutral. So 2 out of 5. 2 out of 5 are bullish. Tesla. God, this is such a heartbreaker. I bought it yesterday. 583s. Stopped. 581s or 584s maybe, 583.5. Stopped 581s. Tried again. Stopped again. Finally just let it alone. Had some short-term bad news, and then today it's up. So, what are you going to do? That's trading. Should have had stronger hands, huh? Why is that there? But no, it's what it is. It's pretty active right now, after hours. Looks like shares are being bought. So, I mean, if you're a long-term bull on Tesla, it's not a bad place to buy. But personally, I want to wait until this downtrend line changes, or we come into 4.7, really anywhere from 450 all the way up to 500. I'll buy. I'll just buy. I will scale in here and take my chances that it does not go below this high volume node and stop me at like 385. And I will go small in this area, and I will hold for, if I buy 485s, you have to stop me at like 385. I'd hold for a $100 move to the downside. Yes, I would, but I think it would pop like a motherfucker off that level, just because it's prior highs become support, etc. And then I think it would be valued well, and I think it would grind out, and then I think it would rip to the upside because people love to short Tesla, that narrative, right? So they would be getting frothy in here, and I would be buying your shit talking of Tesla. Anyway, so JP Morgan, another bank, another bullish chart. So Tesla is more of a bullish chart to me, or has more of a likelihood of going up next week than down. So JP Morgan, still in an uptrend, more likely up than down. Visa, more likely up than down. Higher time frame chart is very bullish. Johnson & Johnson. Little rollover here. You could say a little failure before previous all-time highs. You really want it to hold in this area, but it's a choppy name, so I think it's likely that Johnson & Johnson has a little bounce next week, so that'll affect the indexes. Walmart is going to be closed for Thanksgiving. I don't know where I saw that, but I saw it on one of the headlines. Might have been Walter Bloomberg. Okay, that's who it was. In this short-term symmetrical broadening formation here, or megaphone, I don't know. Looks bullish to me. Broke this downtrend line. It's consolidating. It's consolidating tightly up here. I don't know. Just looks like it's ready to go explore more up. We'll see. Guess you could put a short-term oh man, it's not gonna let me touch it. That's fine, whatever. We'll delete you. You could do something like that if it breaks that, right? So high volume in this area. If it breaks this area and moves upside, it's probably gonna run a little bit to at least 145. So what, $4 or $5 up. So, but that'll affect the indexes. MasterCard. So Zdos TV, we're getting closer to SPY. MasterCard, still bullish. Disney. I wouldn't touch this right here. Does not look bullish. My kid is so happy to have somebody to play with right now. I'm teaching him while I'm home. Ah, man, why is that not selecting? I'm teaching him while you know what, let's just get rid of this stupid thing. I'm teaching him while I'm home that he just can't come in and bother me all the time while I'm working. But that's, I mean, it's obviously hard for a 3.5-year-old. That's almost impossible, but I'm slowly teaching him and incorporating more things. Yeah, but now that Mama's home, Mama's giving him full attention, and he's tickled pink. That's a good thing. Yeah, he loves me, so he wants me to give him my attention. So it's not a negative thing, but I just can't handle. Coffee and OJ. Yes, 727. I want that monitor, man. I want it badly. I haven't ordered it yet. I'm waiting for you to give me feedback, my friend. Coffee and OJ. Golly, coffee sounds good. Coffee sounds really good up in the mountains, in the middle of nowhere. Sorry, little. So Disney, yeah, break this trend line first. Then I maybe kind of get a little bullish or something. But it's right in this channel, isn't it? It's like a perfect little channel. I don't know. I just don't like this action. It doesn't really hold here, right? Tries here. Tries, and then fails, right? Some poor earnings or something. But this trend line is here, so, right? And then it's got a test right here, a high volume node right at 185. So it's like, I don't know. If POC was down here, and then there was a little volume node here, I'd be like, okay, yeah, well, whatever. Most long-term holders are averaged in here, and if we move here, in terms of this recent price action, right? You look on the weekly, it's a different thing. Anyway, most long-term holders, and we're talking long-term, past whatever, 6 or 7 months. People looking for swing trades, they're underwater. But if the high volume node was here and then it was a smaller volume, then I'd be like, okay, it's more likely to just keep ripping. But with this setup, with the way the nodes work, you have a high volume node here, and you have a high volume node here. you might get an explosion here. Where does it go? What, 185? So yeah, $8 or $9 of upside. Maybe it does. You know, it starts to break that trend line. So maybe you can buy it here in anticipation of that. You know, 1, 2, 3. You know, so it's kind of a nice anticipation play. It's starting to curl up a little bit. So I don't know. It's kind of an up day in the market. Disney didn't make a huge move, so kind of relatively weak in my opinion. Bank of America Corporation, another bank, another bull chart. So now that we know the XLF is going to look quite bullish, we'll look at another chart here. The sectors chart. I'll show you guys that. That'll tell us a little bit of something about rotation. Procter & Gamble looks good. It's another bull chart, right? Home Depot. Wah, wah, wah. Trying to fill that gap. Exactly. So already measured move made, hit, went up outside of the measured move, coming back in. I expect Home Depot, and I've talked about this for a while, I expect it to, just based on the pattern, I expect it to do this. Something like that. I mean, not exactly, but I expect it to have another basing kind of pattern or something. You know, if markets only just moved the way I wanted them to move. But just based on this, I think it might go down lower, but I think it'll try to digest gains up here. That's what I think. A little overheated, that's all it is. Let's see. Nvidia. All right, it's doing the Boeing, isn't it? Right? Remember what I was talking about with Nvidia? I'd be looking to get out, and if it explodes up, I would be dumping that shit. All right, so look at this weekly. Now let's go look at Boeing. You see that? So had you charted Boeing the way we just did Nvidia, that's what Nvidia's done right now. Essentially, here, let's come back to it. Right? This is essentially what's happening. All these white lines are just gaps, whatever. Market doesn't always go back and fill every gap. Look at these gaps from way lower. Anyway, Nvidia's been in major volatility here, right? It's one of those names, all right? Boom, boom, all the way back up now here. Now all the way up. So now this looks so much more like the early phases of a diamond reversal. Yeah, if this thing goes up and hits 1,000, sorry, you know, whatever. But I'm just calling it like I see it. I don't know the future. I don't think it's gonna do all this, but you know, I might be fucking wrong, and so that's why you trade your own account, motherfuckers. Okay. If it comes back in, does this. Ho ho ho. I will say I told you so. So anyway, it looks so much like the Boeing chart now. So much like the Boeing chart. It's just crazy. Yeah, I know that they built more stuff for crypto and blah, 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 blah. But crypto might be cycle topped for a little bit. Might be. Might have a little push left in it. Make a lower high. Get everybody suckered in, right? Oh, return to the new paradigm and then roll over. Right? This is what markets do. Come on, you guys have all seen the chart. You know, right? Markets do this. Oh, oh. And then right up here, it's like, this is it, right? This is the way things are gonna go. Then it goes sideways. And everyone's like, yeah, buy the dip, buy the fucking dip. Then it goes, phoom, and everybody goes, oh, 50% retracement, buy that shit. And then it bounces, and then all the late, oh fuck, I'm gonna miss it again, right? So this is the distribution, and then and then the despair, like, oh fuck, what's happening, right? And then it goes like that, right? And then, oh, it's broke. Down here, it's like, the market's like, it's broken. A little bounce. Oh, really? What the fuck is happening? How come it's rallying? Right? And then a new cycle, right? This is what Bitcoin's doing. But you know, maybe we're okay. Bitcoin, what's like? It's did its $50,000 to $60,000 range. Now it's at that 30, right? And then if it bounces to 50, it's gonna be like this potentially. So this would be like 50K in the analogy, right? And then everyone's like, yeah, hell yeah, but the volume's usually shit. Goes sideways, rolls over, and then everyone's like, no one wants to sell at this point because of this just happened. And it's just, this is like the psychology of an investment cycle or whatever. But this is the way this shit happens. So anyway, nobody wants to sell here out of this kind of symmetrical broadening formation. This is old hat. This has been going on since the 30s, these kind of patterns. So, you know, you get this kind of pattern, be fucking wary. Like, you know, this one stock should not make or break your trading career. Nvidia should not make or break you. You know, if you made money on it, great. But just be wary of this kind of thing. Like this kind of, it looks exactly like so many patterns that have happened before. So be wary is what I'm saying. This is tied into crypto. And if, you know, crypto kind of goes a little crazy, this might rip to 750 or something. And then if crypto shits the bed, no one's going to be fucking buying, you know, miners or components to be mining that shit anymore. They're going to be like, fuck it, crypto's dead. And these sales are going to shit themselves. So I'm just telling you. It's going to affect a lot of things. PayPal. Yeah, PayPal is looking pretty good. This was my hope, right? But it didn't do that. It made a higher low, and now, let's see. It's breaking this trend line. It really, for it to be bullish, it needs to break this resistance area here. Oh, why aren't you working? Yeah, it should be working. There you go. That right here. So 275. So that's what I would want to be. That's what I would want to see. Again, basic, you know, Dow theory trend. You know, higher highs and higher lows. So until you, right now this is just consolidation, but it's not bad looking. It's a nice looking consolidation. It's not high and tight. I mean, maybe it is on the weekly, but I don't know. I like when things pull back a lot like this. So it's pulled back a lot, 308 all the way to what, 2 some. So I don't know. It's a huge 25-30% pullback or more. So that's nice. I like seeing that, and I like seeing a big 618 bounce off the highs. Right? That's about 618, isn't it? It can just roughly tell you it's bouncy, right? So where's the 618? That red arrow is making it a little more confusing. So yeah, right on 618. See, I have an eye for it. I've been doing this a few years. So 618 bounce. So that's a bounce. That's a very bouncy kind of retracement right here. The 60, almost 62% of this move was, you know, boom, retraced, and then, you know, retraced a lot of that, and now it's already above the 618 here of this down move. So it's telling me it's bouncy, right? It's got a lot of interested buyers. So PayPal's looking good. Oops. Intel. Selecting the wrong list. Not a fan of Intel. ASML. I've been saying it looks bullish for a while, so it still looks bullish. I mean, it's pretty overheated, but it is certainly bullish. Let's do this. There you go. This thing's gonna have a pullback at some point here pretty soon. I'd be looking to short it 715. But you might have to wait for a few months to get your money out. So it's a long-term hold. On a short, it would be a little bit of a long-term hold, and then stop up at like 740 or something like that. So 715 short right here, stop 740. God, measured move though. Here. Yeah, measured move is like 745. Maybe I won't be shorting it there. Even though it's on that channel high. Nah. Depends how it gets there. If it goes straight up and then goes above that channel, then yeah, 730 is a nice short for short-term mean reversion back into the channel. I bet you if we put like Bollinger Bands and like a 2-hour chart on that, it would show something a little bit more nicely. But we won't do that today anyway. Comcast. All right, 727. Have a great weekend as well, man. I am really curious to hear about your new 49-inch monitor. I want to buy 2 of those. Put them on top of each other. Comcast. God, it's just so ugly. It's my internet. It's my ISP. Fucking hate these guys. They have a monopoly. That's just a choppy ass chart. It's in balance up here. So balance from 52 to, I don't know, 60. So not my cup of tea. But is it more bullish than bearish? I think it's likely to move down. I don't know. Maybe some bias there. XOM, ExxonMobil. Bullish chart, right? Cup and handle. So this is a bullish chart. Just on the daily, it's a bullish chart. Right? So impulse, cup, handle. So if I could see it easily moving to 64 next week. Verizon. Inverted head and shoulders, weekly still bullish, daily more bullish than bearish, likely to move up, spring back up into this range. It's choppy, this is how it plays. So would not be surprised for it to move back up to the 59.60 level. Again, that's only a $2-3 move, but it just would not surprise me to have it oscillate right back up, just like it did over here. Came down, would not be surprised to see it move right back up. All right, so keep hitting the wrong one. Coca-Cola. Just want to finish this and get to the indexes, damn it. It's bullish, so more likely to go up than down. It's above this previous high here. Boy, too many lines. Too many lines. Yeah, so broke that downtrend line. We have a gap that it filled here without any problems. Let's go look at it. Yeah, you know what? This thing's got clear sailing. Coke to the moon, for sure. Maybe, possibly. Netflix, part of Fat Man G. Bottom of range, more likely to go up than down, in my opinion. Just because it's balance. Doesn't have to do what I say, but it might go down and then up, so we'll see. But I just, if it's in balance, then I just say if it's at the lower end of balance, it's more likely to get sucked back up. So Adobe, more bullish than bearish chart. Right, look at this. Right, so here. Right. Consolidation, and now we're trying to make a new trend here. So I think it's more likely to at least test this area and see if it can crack it, which means it's going to get sucked up to that area, at least to test it, because this bounce has been nice. So yeah, could it make a lower high and roll over? Yeah, could do that, but I think it's just likely to go up. So anyway, my idea is higher than has a higher probability of going up than down. Let's see. Cisco Systems, another bullish chart. Higher probability of going up than down. Short term, looks like it's breaking a level. Yep. AVGO, What do we say about AVGO? Balancing. Likely to move more up than, yeah, this looks good. Double bottom. 1, 2, 3. This is probably gonna rip. I need to buy some AVGO at 475. God, you know, who likes to buy when you get a move? When you get a move like that, I mean, who likes to buy? But it's, you got to look at that. 1, 2, 3. It's right above us. Right above us. 481 is resistance short term. But I just think it might take a little time to get through here, but I think it's likely we get through it. Yes, sir. Channel be damned. Pseudo channel be damned. Let's see. Texas Instruments. We've been saying it's bullish. Just keeps oscillating up. It's more likely up than down. Let me look at this thing. Yeah, more likely up than down. Costco. Another bullish chart. So it might double top. We'll see. We'll see with Costco. It looks like it's going to turn into a trading range, which is why I have this box here. Right? It's what it's being set up for. I mean, yes, I get it. It's a bullish bounce off what was resistance becomes support. And that's coming all the way back up here with velocity. Broke this little down channel. So I get it. It's bullish still. I don't know, but when things move up like this, don't pull back. It definitely usually doesn't lend towards sustained trend as much. It could just rip straight up, but did have good earnings, and the earnings reaction was very subdued, if I remember correctly. If not even bad, even though the earnings were good, and so now it's just been bought up. So I don't know. That might be fuel. See the volume here on the daily down here at the lows? Fuel, but looks like they've distributed some of that here. You see that? Here and here. It's a nice move. So they're anticipating that, right? Maybe double top. Little bit of distribution now sideways on the daily. I don't know if you guys you see the nuance there? All right? So a big buys here on volume. And then you see how it starts to go sideways? That's being likely distributed. Might it go higher? Yeah, but it's tight and it's high consolidation, right? With down days followed by probably lower volume up days, as what I would imagine. There. Where's the volume? A little bit. And then this last one is definitely higher, right here and here, right? Definitely higher. And then here, yeah, definitely some higher volume, which would correspond, you could see it here, right up here. Big cells. What's that? Yeah. Just trying to figure it out. That's a big volume right there. So anyway, could go higher. We'll see. See if there's an appetite for more Costco shares, but certainly I'd be looking to, if you had bought even the breakout, I'd be looking to de-risk here. Leave some, but because you don't know, it might push higher and just keep making new trends. But I would be de-risking if you bought this breakout on a swing trade. That's a few weeks worth. So anyway, we were bullish here, saying buying Costco here, and take off into all-time highs. So we're there. And now we're seeing what looks like could be a little bit of distribution. Qualcomm. Let's see. Little double bottom action. It could be bullish. We'll see. This is not unlike a lot of other charts that eventually explode up. It's holding this little area down here. So get rid of some of this garbage. All right, so rejected there once before. which we already had this in here prior to this rejection. If you guys have been watching my weekly videos, this was resistance for Qualcomm, just based on structure, volume node, right? This little area here, and it did play out. So this kind of thing, doing this on a weekly basis, it's helpful. So two more symbols here, Amgen, and why do I have Qualcomm in twice? Well, that's stupid. Well, maybe one more symbol. I don't know. Might have fucked up my symbols here a little bit and then gotten one of these wrong when I put them back in. Okay, so oops, like 4 or 5 days ago I messed them up, deleted too many. Then I tried to add them back from memory, so Qualcomm twice. What a messy chart. What a messy chart. Chop chop. I don't know. Let's delete this. All right. To the indexes. So this is what I'm talking about, though, with a rising wedge kind of action. All right, you can take a point here and then go like this and say, oh, well, that's a rising wedge, right? But is it? Is it really? This is a big pullback. Is this really a trend from here to way up here? Or is the channel trend, so it's deceptive, or is the channel trend more here? I would say it's more here, like that. Oh, it's so poorly drawn. Okay. Like that. That's the meat of where we're driving, right there. See that? Now, is that a rising wedge technically? No, that's a channel. Is it tightening? Sure, absolutely. But this is just a solid uptrend. That's what it is. Nice pullback. I would expect it to come up and keep going higher. And we had a close today on the E-mini where we pulled back into about 60,000, a little less than 60,000 contracts on a pullback. That's healthy. Didn't close at the highs on volume. So, and we're, in terms of our higher time frame trend lines, here, let's see if we can get like 1 hour on this SPY chart here. You see this? All right, we're just going to draw it very generic. It doesn't have to be at the perfect top, okay? Look, you see that? So remember what I was saying earlier about 3 times? 1, 2, 3, right? And what are we doing? We're making higher lows. That's what it is. Up against what? This trend line. So it's now hit it 1, 2, 3 times. Yeah, could it pull back? Could it even go like that? Sure. But but just trade what's in front of you, right? If it pulls back in here and it tries again, what do you think's going to happen if we go up there again? I mean, we're already hitting it 1, 2, 3. What do you think is going to happen if we go a 4th time? The sellers that are here, there's going to be less of them, right? And the buyers are already buying higher when it pulls back, right? It's the whole idea. It gets you familiar, or it gets you when you're seeing higher lows, you're seeing that people are willing to pay higher and higher for the prices, but they're not willing to buy above here yet, so there's still sellers here, right? So as this moves up and then that seller is finally gone, so it's, again, the trend is like this. It's still doing the, pulling back, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows. I mean, the trend is up. Yeah, it's not that mysterious. It really isn't. Yeah, I mean, on the weekly, is this concerning? Hell yeah, it's concerning. But, you got to keep going with trend until something snaps. And if when something snaps, like, I was pointing out to someone the other day that the price action, it's like right now, from what I'm seeing, it reminds me a lot of 2017 in this area right here. That's what it reminds me of. And the percentages are pretty similar the way that we're moving here. And they said, oh, well, the bars look different. Well, that's because relative to the index, the actual point ranges are a lot bigger right now, generally. I mean, obviously, the last few days have been a little bit boring and stuff, but the ranges are bigger just because the index itself. So as a percentage move. So anyway, it reminds me of this area. And what happened here? We got the parabolic move and then the crazy pullback. Right? So where we are here is, all right, we're doing this. That was a healthy pullback. If this thing starts to go straight up on the weekly, 1, 2, 3, 4, I mean, then you want to start looking to get short because that's a little crazy, So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I mean, then it pulls back, right? That's not there yet. It is not there yet. So anyway, this short-term price action on the 60-minute indicates we're in a market that's about to pop to the upside. So that is my opinion on that when it comes to the SPY. Looks ready to pop. And then we went through some of these. So, Tesla was upside, Facebook upside, Amazon neutral, Google upside, Microsoft upside, Apple neutral, right? JPM upside, Verizon upside, Johnson & Johnson on a pullback looks like upside, Walmart looks like upside, right? MasterCard upside, Disney not so bullish, Bank of America upside, Procter & Gamble upside, Home Depot neutral bearish, Nvidia way overdone. Okay, so likely pullback, maybe not. I mean, it's still breaking out. Might just go with the market and go stupid parabolic next week. Who knows? But the pullback is gonna come. I think. Intel kind of piece of a shit. Asml more bullish than bearish. Comcast, I thought it was going to pull back. XOM bullish. Verizon higher time frame bullish, could break out at any time. Coca-Cola bullish. Netflix bottom of range. See how going over this kind of helps you to go, if these are the constituents of these indexes, then okay, how many of them are more likely to break up than down, and what's their weighting, right? So Apple is kind of a neutral thing, but when Apple starts to go, you know how that shit gets. So this is what the indexes look like, right? Higher highs and higher lows. So I don't know. If you are subscribed to Sven, whatever his fucking face is, and you're a perma bear, sorry, deal with it. It's what it is. That's what the market is saying. Yes, the Fed prints money. Yes, we're in a high inflation environment. Yes, the Fed might taper. Yes, the Fed has our backs. Yes, it's a crock of shit. I get it. But at the end of the day, this is the technicals. And, if you've been a bear since 50% of this move, you've got fucking murdered, right? For what? Calling highs all the way up. So maybe you're right every few months. Oh, big pullback, what they call the end of the world, every fucking time. Oh, double top. Oh, didn't quite make all-time highs. Oh, false breakout. Like, you've been fucking wrong this whole time. Yes, there's going to come a point where you're going to be very right. But, broken clock, what do they say about that? Right once a day, if it's digital. Yeah, anyway. So that's, anyway. All right, Nasdaq. Helene Meisner, is it Meisner or Meiser? I can't remember. She drew a really nice looking by hand chart for this. She did this, I think. I think that's what it was. At resistance, but man, hugging that trend line, starting to push right back up. That's QQQ. Short term, it looks fine. Again, this is consolidation, right? This is generally a higher low. Yes, it's a little double topish, but because we came back up and pushing, this could be super fuel for a huge move on the Nasdaq. Again, we're going to see with the sectors chart what the sectors look like, and we're going to see if there's likely going to be rotation from sectors that have been bought into sectors that have been beat down. So IWM, look at IWM. This thing is like a cobra head or a snake head. Look at this, ready to spring. Someone posted a stat on Twitter that AMC and GME have been 15% of IWM's gains for, was it this year? I don't remember exactly, but 15% of their gains for some time period. That's astounding. All right, so if it, do the other components of the IWM have the ability to lift it up? Absolutely. Those two names, it's kind of, when you hear a stat like that, by the way, rule of three here. When you hear a stat like that, it's easy to go, well, if they dump, it's going to crash the whole thing. No, not necessarily. It's not the way that rotation works in the stock market. People like to use these stats to promote a bearish theory. But anyway, rule of three. So we'll just leave that up there. Dow Jones Industrials average. The Dow, okay, still bullish. It's kind of an ugly chart, but it's still bullish. So now this is more of a rising wedge. You see how the price action moves up, down, back up to the channel, and then all the way it forms like a new low area. It would be nice if this came all the way back up here and then came down, but it didn't. It goes sideways, comes back up. But, it's a little bit better of a rising wedge. The recent price action is still a tightening channel, just like the SPY. But it got a little bullish here and then pulled back, but a little bit better looking. Still, you got to be careful of these rising wedges. But yeah, it's, unless you get a pullback, I mean, these things, they do run out of, they run out of juice, but you gotta sacrifice the last bear has to capitulate. And right now, the way that the E-mini looks, the way that the SPY looks, the SPX, and that's King Kong, still looks bullish. And yet you have all these people talking bearish. I get it. I do get it. Okay, let's look at this index thing. So it's not going to work on historical charts. Custom symbols never do. Okay, so let's go look at it on a, what is this, an 60-minute? Let's go see if we can do it like a 4-hour. Oops, that's the wrong thing. It's trying to load it on the weekly. Damn it. That's all right. We'll just do this. 4-hour. Oh, it doesn't load that far back. Okay, so this is Fatman G. Okay, so 4-hour, you can just do this. Right? Something like that, right? A nice fat. So it's right up there at resistance. This is a bullish pattern. Why? It was moving in a channel. It broke down harshly, sucked a lot of shorts in, came right back up into this channel, hit the top of the channel like no one's business. Okay? So more likely to move up. This is Facebook, Apple, Tesla, Microsoft, Amazon, Netflix, Google, Fatman G. I'd almost want to see this further out, but that's okay. I'm looking at it more for a short-term price action. We already charted these individually, right? So I'm just telling you what they look like, right, when you put weighting to them. So like you can see Facebook is weighted 10%, Google or Apple 20%, Tesla 10%, Microsoft 15%, Amazon 15%, Netflix 10%, Google 20%, right? That gets you your 100% weighting or whatever. Right? Apple in reality might be 0.22 or 0.23, but that's all right. You were just getting a rough figure to get it close. Okay, so looks pretty good. I got to fix this chart really quick. So now let's go back to SPY, and I'm gonna fix this before I forget. Let's go weekly, load. Okay, done. Now let's go over here to the sector chart. And what this does is this chart goes in and it looks at the percent change since the open, or whenever the chart starts, right? So I just want people to understand what this is. So this top right here is energy, right? This green. So it's, you see it's labeled here, and it tells you the percentage. Looking back, you can see the date here. So I think this is a 90-day chart. Let's see. No, 120-day chart. So this is looking back. What is 120 divided by 3 is what, 4? So 4 months. So this is looking back 4 months and how these various sectors, these are like the spider sectors, have performed. So we've got energy, which we know has been a big performer. Early in the trend, it was okay, looking good, and everyone bought it like crazy. It pulled back. Everyone thought that's it. And now we kind of have this cup and handle thing with energy, right? You can kind of see the way it's going, right? Cup. And it's starting to break out again, right? So energy might do this still. And we're coming into the summer months, right? Things are opening up again. So we'll see. Energy might be, people might start to travel, use their boats, blah, 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 blah. So energy is looking like it could keep going, right? That's just, I mean, maybe people don't want to hear that, but that's just what it is, okay? So the financials, right? We've been looking at banks, and we've been saying banks have been looking mega bullish, right? So that's this purple line, right? Been doing this. This is banks, right? Consolidation. Now banks look like they're starting to break out a little bit. So banks still look like they're going up. All right. So materials sector, right? It went a little bananas, we know, lumber and all these things. Now it's consolidating again. Right? Trend is up. So we'll see. Is it going to push up or not? We don't know. All right. Industrials. So industrials, with the economy reopening, has been going up for the last 4 months. Okay. Value stocks. So VOOV. See, there's stocks representing value as opposed to like growth stocks. Slowly grinding up, right? Value slowly grinding up. Now let's compare that right now to growth. Right? Growth is like the Zooms of the world, stuff like that. So tech, right? So innovative stocks, companies, stuff like that, right? Shit on, right? So doing something like that. So starting to change trend a little bit here, right? But still not out of the woods. Xlk. My kid is yelling, superpowers activate. Too much Paw Patrol. It's just super cute. He has a pretty deep voice for a 3.5-year-old, and he's got a stupidly expressive face. So when he does it, man, it's hilarious. Gets that from his grandmother. She's got a really expressive face. Okay, so Xlk Technology, right? So this is the one a lot of people are watching. So it's that bright red line, okay? Kind of relatively, what, almost sideways. And you can see almost only up, what, that amount. And then you have discretionary. Here, we got to get rid of the other one, sorry. Took a dump. So there it is right there. And we know it's down. It's utilities. So utilities, when utilities start to pop, it's kind of like a safe asset. They don't move that much, right? But anyway, what we've had, and so we've looked at a lot of the tech charts, and they're all beat down. A lot of them, right? Or they're going sideways. And you had this big rotation into energy, right? We've looked at XOM, still looks pretty bullish. So it still hasn't had its blow off top. But what you have to anticipate when you look back, here, let's look a little bit further back. Let's go, I don't know, 6 months, 180 days approximately, right? Two hours. Right, so when you look back at these things, right, so this is a 6 month, let's see if we can scrunch it up. Okay, we can't. What is it? What is it, 30-minute chart? Yeah, it's 30 minutes. So let's change it to 60-minute. I think that'll allow us to see the whole thing. I should have done that initially. There we go. Is you want to start anticipating when something gets a little overheated and when something has been beat down or has consolidated a bit, when you want to start rotating into those things that they're going to start buying again. Right? So couple that with, okay, when you start to see the trend change for technology on some of these stocks where they start to make, again, higher lows and higher highs, even on like a swing time frame of 1 to 3 weeks on the daily chart, when you start to see that, and you start to see that like, okay, energy has been, I mean, really moving to the upside, and it's trying to break out again. Right? Think about where we are at in relation to summertime. By about summertime, it's all, even a little before, energy starts to get already priced in. Okay, so you know, you have to kind of think about the rotations in terms of it's the market's going to anticipate what's coming. It's not what's happening now per se. So this is where I start to look at like, okay, energy I'm not so interested in. I mean, if you're holding it long and you're in trend and you already thought about that before, great. But you want to start looking for names like I don't know, Peloton, right? Peloton looked, no, not Peloton. Sorry. Where was it? Roku, right? Roku looks solid, right? What was the other one? Not Pinterest. Yeah, I can't even. Anyway, some of these names that we were reviewing, where did it go? Zoom, right? Zoom. Kind of beat down, right? It's a growth name. It's kind of starting to look good. You want to anticipate. It might go lower, but this is where you want to start to scale in a little bit. And then as it starts to change trend potentially, right? And as money starts to sector rotation occurs, starts to flow back in, and this technology sector and growth start to outperform these other sectors, you want to start looking for the strongest stocks. So anyway, that's it. Have a good weekend, guys. Is there anything? I see there's only 3 people watching. Is there anything that any of you 3 people want me to chart? I'm happy to chart anything you want. I'll throw it in to my movers list. And I know there's a little delay here, so I will wait 20 or 30 seconds before getting offline here. The Wheel of Fortune music is going off in my head right now. If I don't see any comments here in the next 20-30 seconds, then I'm donezo. I gotta go hug my wife. I don't mind charting a few more names. Not a big deal. Okay, I think I'm done. Have a good weekend, and happy trading next week, guys. Take it easy.